What's up again there, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and welcome to episode 201 of my weekly Q&A show with People's Questions, episode 201, being the first episode of the new year. Before I begin, I'd like to thank everybody who sent in your really awesome questions. We didn't get as many as last time, which I don't think is all that bad, but we got a lot of regulars from mine, so I think that's pretty good to keep the episodes consistent. So jumping first with the first few questions coming from your Uncle Jay, you want to know, who is the worst Jedi in Star Wars? Well, to be honest, I actually think this new version of Luke Skywalker is the worst Jedi in Star Wars at this point in time, simply because I don't really like what they've done with the character. I know that we've only seen 30 seconds of him, but just the idea that Luke decided to run away and be in exile because a rogue apprentice wiped out his order is just really stupid. I mean, if we go back to the original continuity, you look at Darth Caedus, who, mind you, was his own nephew, killed his wife, destroyed half of his order. Luke Skywalker still went after this guy and didn't let that stop him. So the fact that they wrote that he would just go into exile for no reason makes no sense. I mean, is he really that afraid? I mean, it makes me think that he actually has grown a lot weaker, like Obi-Wan did going into his old age. I mean, is that why he decided to hide and run? And mind you, Luke Skywalker was not quite as old as he is now, but he was still kind of well past his prime, I would say. So that's why I don't really like what they've done with Luke Skywalker so far. Maybe they'll change in the next movie. Next question is, what was my first console? Well, I played a lot of consoles before I got really into gaming, but I would say the first console that I actually owned was the Nintendo 64, and I actually got it the Christmas of '97. Next question is, would a Street Fighter vs. Mortal Kombat crossover work? I don't think it works simply because I don't think Capcom would allow NetherRealm Studios to use their characters in such a brutal way. It would be kind of the same situation that we had between Midway and Warner Brothers' DC Universe. I mean, yeah, you had fatalities and heroic brutalities, but they were so watered down that it didn't really feel much like a Mortal Kombat game, so I just don't think a crossover between the two would really work. Next three questions come from William Laurie, and you want to know, have I played a game made by Suda51? Yes, I have. In fact, I only own one at this time, and that is Shadow of the Damned, which you happen to mention also. I actually enjoyed Shadow of the Damned. It reminded me a lot of Resident Evil 4. I liked its gameplay style, I liked its setting, and I thought the main character was pretty entertaining for the most part. Next question is, what is my favorite cheat code? My favorite cheat code is anything that allows you to enlarge the heads of people in shooter games, simply because it makes it a lot easier to get headshots, because obviously the head being enlarged is the largest target on the body, so I think it's always enjoyable to watch. The next question is, what is my opinion on the announcement of Kojima's studio working with Sony? Well, with me being a Sony guy, I can't be more excited for it, because my favorite gaming director, or just developer in general, is going to be making games for the console that I've enjoyed playing the most, so in my opinion, it's a match made in heaven for me. The next three questions come from Phil the Darkness March, and you want to know, do I think there should be a fighting game with Mortal Kombat 10 graphics, but with any anime game, movie characters I would want? It's not the fact that, I mean, okay, could you make a fighting game with anime characters? Yes, of course. It depends, it just, you need to find the right franchise for it, whether it's something like doing another Dragon Ball Z game, or making an Inuyasha fighting game, or making a Naruto game, or making a Yu Yu Hakusho game. You can technically do any type of fighting game with anime characters with Mortal Kombat 10 graphics. The question is, would you want to? Game developers usually like to keep their character models look pretty close to their anime counterparts, so I don't really think you would ever see a game use PlayStation or Mortal Kombat 10 graphics from NetherRealm Studios. I just don't think that would ever happen. Next question is, what did I think of Aang vs. Sora video from Antoine? I saw it, but I really didn't like it because the fight itself made no sense because it's so inconsistent. I admire that Antoine is probably the one other YouTuber that I know besides me that actually does versus series matchups away from Star Wars, but my matchups tend to make sense because I like to keep them in the confines of the franchises that the characters are in. So you'll never see me put like a Final Fantasy character against a Mortal Kombat character. You'll never see me put a Star Wars character against someone from Devil May Cry, because these characters operate from completely different rules, and so making them fight just doesn't make any sense. So putting Aang in a fight against Sora also doesn't make much sense, which is why I really didn't enjoy the matchup in general, simply because it just doesn't, it's not compatible. And this kind of goes to your last question of Who do I think will win in a fight between Link, Sora, and Avatar Korra? Well, you have the same problem. These three characters play by different rules. They fight completely differently, and so seeing them fight just makes no sense. And it's even more chaotic if you put them in a triple threat because it can go in any direction. You could have Link and Sora team up to take on Korra. You could have Korra and Link take on Sora. It's so all over the place. So in triple threats are so unpredictable. You don't know who's going to come out the winner. So it's just not a matchup that I can really come up with the winner because it really can end three different ways. And it's impossible to decide who's going to do what in what situation. Going into the next two questions come from Santiago Scarpino, and you want to know, who could solve a crime faster, Elle from Definite or Batman? Well, I definitely think Batman would be able to solve a crime faster because he is the world's greatest detective, and he has a lot of his own he has a lot more resources than Elle. As smart as Elle is, he has to work within not only the limitations of the law itself, but he has to work within the limitations that the law provides him. And he's not a very hands-on type of detective. He very much likes to operate directly in the shadows and relies on subordinates in order to get the resources he needs in order to solve the crime. While Batman is out there on the streets doing his own work, getting the information that he needs, and then coming up with his own analysis out in the field, not in his own, Batcave bunker. And he also has subordinates like the other Robins or Batwoman or Batgirl, which have the detective skills in that department as well, who can get him that resources as well. So I just think that Batman just has more resources and is more willing to get the information himself rather than having to rely on others to do it for him. And your next question is, what are my thoughts on the Metal Gear Rising soundtrack? Well, it wasn't your stereotypical Metal Gear Solid soundtrack, but it was definitely high energy, fast paced, which I think works with the hack and slash action of the Metal Gear Rising game. So I thought it worked for the type of game that it was made for. The next set of questions come from Thynaping Sniper, and you want to know, what type of game do I think Kojima will develop for PlayStation 4? I personally don't care what it is, because whatever Hideo Kojima makes is going to be undoubtedly awesome. So whenever he does announce the game that he's going to be making, which hopefully will be at the next E3, I will pre-order it day one. Next question is, do I like alternative history, and can we make a game from this subgenre? Yes, I absolutely love games that involve alternating history. I mean, look at the Assassin's Creed games. I mean, you have characters who kind of interfere in historic events. But can we make a subgenre from this? I don't think you can, simply because there's just it's alternating history is not really doesn't change the subgenre itself. It just allows you to work within the boundaries of the media you're trying to work with. So no, I don't think you can make a subgenre from that. And your last question is, how do I think Nathan Drake will die? Well, we don't know if he is going to die, because all the promotional material is kind of giving off the impression that he'll die. A lot of fans don't think he will. I hope he does, just so it gives a permanent end to the franchise, which Naughty Dog has said this is the last one. But if he was going to die, probably it's going to be with him sacrificing himself to save a loved one, whether it's Elena, Sully, or this new character, his brother. Because the whole game's, it's pretty much its message that it's giving is, what will he give up to save someone he loves? And what more could you give than your own life to save someone you love? So I think if he is going to die, it'll be him sacrificing himself for someone. Next set of questions, and the last question of the episode, is coming from Fading Toaster 406, and you want to know, what type of vehicles do I like? I like vehicles that are safe to fly, drive, or pilot, but are fuel efficient. That way I can pilot them or drive them longer. And the last question of the episode is, what is my ideal daily driver, and what would be my ridiculous dream car? I'm not really sure what you mean by daily driver, but I guess if I had to pick a driver, I'd pick an Uber driver simply because I really like their suits. And I guess my ridiculous dream car would be the Batmobile, preferably the Tumbler from the Nolan Batman films, because that is just the perfect vehicle that I would like to drive to kind of let people know that I mean business and to get out of my way. So I guess that is my daily driver and my dream car, I would say. And with that, those are the questions that you guys sent for this particular episode. I'd like to thank all of you guys for making this episode possible, this being the first episode of People's Questions for the new year. And I'd like to know, you guys, would you like me to stay with this format of People's Questions? I've been really thinking about switching it up to what I was doing during the previous 50 episodes before going back to doing this, and making them kind of let's play question videos where I would play gameplay and you guys just hear my voice in the background. So let me know what type of format you would like me to use for the people's questions for this year. Do you want me to stick with this format, or would you like me to go into like a Let's Play style? So give me your thoughts on that with your questions in the comments down below. And if you like this video, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe. Check me on my future episodes of People's Questions every Friday. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.